Hey everybody, it's Coach Najee, and here's something a lot of us really don't get. And it's so basic and it's so simple. I'm going to say it in the beginnings. I'm not interested in the marketing tactics of trying to hook you and pull you further on. You have a choice. You always have a choice. You always have a choice. That choice is to think differently, to perceive differently. And why is that important? It's important because the way you're thinking now has been developed in survival mode. That survival mode was excellent and good enough for the time it was developed in. A lot of times we were under stress, we were in traumatic situations, and we adapted to those dysfunctional situations. But guess what? Those dysfunctional thinking patterns have become normal. And when dysfunction becomes normal, your dysfunction starts to execute outside of your awareness. It starts to happen automatically. It becomes an unconscious process, an unconscious pattern, and we end up being stuck in what's normal. We never question what we always do because we always do it. But the thing about it is what we did to survive is not enough for us to thrive. And what I mean to say is that I'm not telling you that you're not enough. What I'm telling you is what you did as a child was excellent as a child. As an adult, as a being of light that is ascending in physical form, as a spirit having a physical spirit experience, you can modify your own beliefs and your own thoughts. How? Why? Why is because the thinking that you've developed is the problem. Like Einstein has already told us, we cannot solve the problem with the same thinking that created the situation. Well, guess what? We didn't necessarily create the situation, but we responded to it. And when we responded to it, guess what? We end up synchronizing and harmonizing with our environment. If there was dysfunction in our environment, we harmonize with it and we learn to deal with it. We learn to cope with it. We develop defense mechanisms around it. And those defense mechanisms are part of our Holy Trinity. They're developed in thought, emotion, and action. That Holy Trinity forms the belief system. So before we go into all the metaphysical stuff, this video is not about that. What this video really is about you questioning your own self. You can do that. You can question your own self. And there's a popular saying that says, hey, you can talk to yourself as long as you don't respond back. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. As long as you don't respond back, you are an intelligently designed divine creator. We learn this in elementary school and middle school, but we never apply it to ourselves. All natural systems seek homeostasis, seek equilibrium, seek harmony, seek balance. You cannot run away from your own thinking. Like Thanos said in the Avengers movies, you will try to think that you are right, but you will fail all the same. You cannot deny the spirit. The spirit is self-aware. The spirit is aware of itself and aware of its co-creations and aware of its own experience, and it is seeking to balance itself. The spirit is seeking to balance itself. It's seeking to come here to fulfill the mission and the purpose that it has. In order for you to do that, you can't just leave the past behind. Everybody says that. Just leave it behind, just move forward. Beliefs buried alive never die. Beliefs buried alive never die. Those old survival patterns that are based in fear, this unaddressed fear becomes the limitations. They become the perceptual limitations for your heart and for your mind. You can question your reality. This is the first step to freedom. And as a divine creator, your ability to question reality, this is your birthright. When you ask questions to yourself and you start listening without judgment, you gain information. We're so used to judging that it's right, it's wrong, it's good, and it's bad. We get conditioned in school. That conditioning in school puts us in a certain mode to where when we feel any pain that we don't like, or we hear something we don't, we cower and we fall back. It's right, it's wrong, it's good, it's bad. And only the smart do well in school, but guess what? Your ability to ask questions and think critically has been suppressed. It's not just the smart, it's everybody. Everybody has their own innate intelligence. We're just pushed into one school system that caters to one particular type of intelligence. Something for you to think about. The reason why you want to question everything. You want to question it because you're learning and downloading the information from the time you're in the womb all the way up to 13, then you're really forming your belief systems. In all honesty, your belief systems are pretty much set by the time you're 5, believe it or not. Now, I had a hard time believing that myself, but it's true, especially when you go through traumatic situations. Your brain starts to hardwire, create those neuronal connections within the brain, develop the synaptic inventory, the volume of neural connections in your brain are pretty much formed of who you think you are and how you relate to yourself. Thankfully, there's such thing as neuroplasticity. Your brain's ability to make new neural connections and neurogenesis. Your mind's ability to change. So neuroplasticity and neurogenesis. What this means, in order for you to change, you got to challenge it. In order for you to change, you want to challenge it. When you challenge your own beliefs and you challenge your own thinking, it allows you to step outside of yourself and see yourself differently. So I know what you're saying. Wait a minute, what does this have to do with choice? Choosing to use your superpower to ask questions is one of the chemical keys to your freedom. You asking these questions to yourself, and you're thinking, and I know exactly what you're thinking. Well, what do I ask? Who, what, when, where, how, why? Who, what, when, where, how, why? Who, what, when, where, how, why? And I know what you're going to say. Well, I don't know what to ask. I don't know where to start. Make it up. You see, this is where the cognitive dissonance comes in because you're so used to being told what to do. Either from the love or light perspective or from the other perspective. It doesn't matter. We're so used to being told what to do. You can start anywhere. Anywhere. Start asking questions about the things that hurt. Why does this hurt? Really? Write it down. Talking into a tape recorder. You want to develop the ability and the skill set of communicating with your own self in a different way. Remember, language is powerful. How you communicate with yourself sets the precedence for your reality. I can't. I wish I could. I couldn't. That's not for me. This is define the reality. Versus, hey, I want, I will, I can, I do, I fail, I try and try again. You will see the quality of your own belief system when you start speaking to it. When you start speaking to your own self, you start to hear the answers you're getting back. You start it's called feedback. You're getting feedback from your own self and you're being creative. So if you don't want to call it critical thinking, just call it creative language. You're back in language arts and you get to make up a whole new conversation and do it the way you want. You get to question everything. You cannot run from the past. Everybody's going to tell you, focus on your strengths, F your weaknesses. Focus on your strengths. Well, guess what? You're only going to be as strong as your weakest point. Whether that's sales, whether that's love, whether that's approaching women, whether that's standing up for your own confidence. Well, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's communicating intelligently, whether that's putting your own thoughts into words, whether that's opening up your heart and being vulnerable, whether that's asking for help. It doesn't matter what it is. You cannot run from it. You are here to create balance. Question everything. Notice when we're children, we come in with a superpower, gathering information, data analysis. Why? Who? What? When? Where? Why? Who? What? When? Where? Why? And then after a while, I don't know. Stop asking questions. You get shamed and guilted into a box. Your superpower, repeating the same thing. This entire video is going to be the same thing. It's your superpower. Why? Because it's repetition for effect. We get tired and we get frustrated, we get angry because we don't get immediate answers. We want everything now. We want it now. We want to snap our fingers like Thanos. Boom. And we want things to be different. Here, in 3D reality, it takes time. The more you practice allowing yourself, giving yourself, granting yourself permission to ask questions that are outside of the box and get an answer, and get another answer, and get another answer, and get another answer, and not judge yourself. It's powerful. But wait a minute. Why do I act this way? Question. Pause. Well, my grandmama always said, well, what did she say? She told me I was a good boy. What's a good boy? Well, I had to do boom, 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 boom. Wait a minute. Do I even believe that? Do I still want to do that? Why am I still doing that? Keep asking the questions. Question everything. As a divine creator, you start gathering information by asking powerful questions. Your old survival mode was based on asking questions, or at least gathering information and coming to a conclusion. Those conclusions need to be checked. Why? Your parents, culture, religion, school, friends, family, media, social media, TV. There's a plethora of places you are downloading information from, especially as a young child or a young creator. And guess what? A lot of that information you may not have challenged. You don't even know if it's yours. You don't even know if you like it. A lot of things that are pushed on us as absolute truth when we're children, you can question these things. You can listen to yourself and say, hey, do I want this? Do I not want this? What do I want to do with it? Because it's up to me and it's my life. It's up to you and it's your life. The superpower requires repetition. Because you're going to ask the same question. Well, I don't know what to say. And I don't know what to do. But I guarantee you, you do. If you only allow yourself, if you give yourself permission to do what you already can do. You came in asking questions as a child. Nobody had to prompt you. Hey, at 2 years old and 4 years old, when you start speaking, start asking a shit ton of questions. No one had to prompt you. It's your ability. So what we're talking about is tapping back in. Tapping back in and reaching into yourself to pull out that power. I know what you're thinking. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Life is the way it is. I don't want to rock the boat. Things are already difficult as they are. I don't want to be the source of problems and pressure. Well, guess what, buddy? You already are. You see, the life that we end up creating in survival mode, it's only going to last so long. We can only run and be afraid and hide from our internal genius for so long. Only for so long. We can put ourselves in situations that aren't conducive to our spirit for so long. But your spirit's going to wake up. It's going to start pushing you. And that pressure is going to create pressure. It's going to create fire. And it's going to tell you, hey, what you've done to survive will not work any longer. And then you'll be plunged into what they call the dark night of the soul. When you refuse to listen. When you refuse to listen to your own soul because it's trying to tell you something. And you know it is. But when you don't want to listen, it's going to cause pain and more pain and more pain and more pain. And it's going to keep hurting. It's going to keep hurting until it's addressed. If you want to solve that pain, start now. Learn how to develop your superpower. That's the ability to ask questions to yourself and to listen intently without judgment. Once you start doing this, you'll start getting answers. Don't judge those answers. Don't judge the quality of those answers. Allow things to be. And when you allow things to be, you get more and more information, and you don't have to accept anything. You don't have to accept the information. Just because it's presented to you, it doesn't have to be absolute truth. A lot of times we refuse to entertain information that doesn't line up what we already think. The idea of who we are, if the information we get doesn't line up to make us feel good, we push it away. The information that doesn't make you feel good, the information that doesn't line up nice and neat, that's the information you need to look at. I mean, you can choose to look at. And when you do that, you get to see yourself from a different perspective. So, repetition for effect. Asking questions. Actively listening and not judging yourself. Allow the information you get to be just information. And when you do that, you allow yourself to change your perspective. You allow yourself to entertain multiple angles of what's possible. That's what questions do. They tap in to infinite possibility and say, what's possible? And when you keep asking questions, just because this is possible and it's happening now, does it always have to be that way? Can it change? Can I get to the next level? When you start asking these powerful questions, guess what? Things change. And when things start to change inside, you can start to make those changes outside. Ask those questions to yourself. You know what's going on. Start inside where the things hurt the most. I had to be honest with my own self. I had to be honest. Wait a minute. What's going on? I had to sit down. Wait a minute. What's the problem? Well, I don't know. Okay, well, what do you think is wrong? Well, I'm trying to help people and it's not working. All right, when's the last time you tried to do that? All right, well, I remember that. Well, when's the earliest time? Well, middle school. Okay. Well, wait a minute. I was telling her what to do. Do people like to be told what to do? No. So why am I still doing it? I don't know. Wait a minute. I tell myself what to do. That makes sense. I talk to other people the way I talk to myself. Okay. So I'm mean. I've gathered information about my own circumstance, and now, wait a minute, I'm able to become aware. Self-awareness allows you to tap into your own knowing. It allows you to tap into your own self, your own subconscious. It allows you to tap into your own body of knowledge and your own body of wisdom. so you can get an inner and understanding of what's going on. When you ask these questions, it allows you to modify yourself. So, your divine nature means you're a spirit or soul or an energy inside of a physical body. That spirit is self-aware of itself. And it came here for a mission and a purpose. The pain that you're feeling right now, the frustration, that living life behind that wall, you not being able to be your true authentic self, you not be able to have the relationships that you truly want, you not able to express yourself the way that you want, you thinking that you need to be strong and that you don't need a man and you don't need a woman, you thinking I need to just be prideful and powerful and just power forward and F the past, I don't need anymore, thinking you don't need to depend upon people. That pain of you being isolated, knowing you want to go out and dance and have fun and just go ahead and wild out, but you're stuck behind a wall. That's what you need to question. That pain's not for you. Only for a time and for a reason and for a season, but 5, 10, 20 years is too many years, too long. Question everything. And this is not for those of you who are comfortable. If you want to go back into the matrix and eat your imaginary steak, you can. But one day you'll be rudely awakened and forced out of your sleeping pod, and there will be no steaks. There will be no steaks. What you refuse to see will be pushed in your eyes. You will experience it. This is not a curse. This is not a threat. This is not voodoo or magic. This is straight logic. As a coach, as a certified life coach, I'm bringing you the essence of self-awareness. Because self-awareness is going to allow you to not escape your situation, but to rectify it, to build a bridge between problem and solution with perspective. So you can be the best version of you. So you can be unconditionally you. Practice. Repetition for effect. Practice. It's not going to come easy in the beginning because you've practiced doing other things that go against your true nature. So it's going to take some time. It's going to take some repetition. Partner up with a buddy. Start asking yourself questions and just flow with it and see what's going on. See what information comes up. Challenge those belief systems. Challenge them, and you will start to claim your birthright. And your birthright is self-awareness. This is Coach Najee. Until next time, we want to heal trauma, stop drama, end karma, so you can be unconditionally you. Like the video, share the video. You can follow me on Instagram at Positive Patterns, and you can also have any comments or questions. You can send me an email at CoachNajee@positivepatterns.org. Until next time, take care.